What's good, y'all? It's your boy Don Bucks, the host of Rappin Dough, and this is the Blackout Edition. First off, I want to say RIP to our most recent out of many victims of police brutality, George Floyd. It's a lot of shit going on outside. I mean, if you turn on your TV, you see it on pretty much every news channel. I got a couple topics I want to touch on today, but it's a lot going on outside. It's a lot of emotions running wild. It's a lot of different opinions going on. It's a lot. But first off, I want to touch on the topic of Trenton rapper Big Ooh, my boy. I'm an advocate of the things Big Ooh got going on. He's about to drop an album. He's been doing this thing in Trenton for 10 plus years. He's a good example of not giving up and investing in yourself, and I'm proud of where he's going. But I believe it was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, he did an interview with some news channel or whatever, and I guess he posted it on his social. And you know, with the type of platform that he has, he's gonna draw some trolls, right? So one of the trolls was screaming that he was cooning based off of what he said. Now I watched the news clip that he put up, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really see anything that screamed out coon to me. Like, he made a couple of good points. Like, one point he was saying that everybody should be mad at what's going on right now, that it's not a black or white thing, it's a right versus wrong thing, and that we need to lead by example. I mean, that's what I got from what he said. But only thing that I can see where people might have a problem is where he said it's not a black or white thing, right? Because what happened between a black and a white person, and it happens, you know, it's been happening over the course of mad years. Like, we've been getting killed by the police, you know, wrongly handled by the police and white people. So I think that's where the disconnect was, but I don't believe that was the context that he was using it in. But I can see how somebody might have heard that sound bite and said, oh, it's not a black versus white thing, but it is a black versus white thing, right? So I think that's where the disconnect could have possibly came in at. But I think he was talking along the lines of, you know, being that there's white people out there protesting with us, and that feel, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say they feel the same way, because they can't possibly feel the same way as we do, but that kind of feel where we coming from, because it's mad white people out there breaking shit and mad as hell, getting hemmed up by the cops too. So I think he was talking along, now I could be wrong, I'm just giving my perspective, but I think he was talking along the lines of basically white people got to do what's right. Let me put my words together correctly. It's not a black versus white thing, it's a right versus wrong thing. Because basically what needs to be done doesn't have a color to it, I guess. That's what he was trying to say. I don't know, maybe he can correct me when we talk face to face, but that white people know what's right and what's wrong, and so now it's time to do what's right. And I'm gonna touch on what another one of our black people said, one of our first black billionaires, because I believe that's one of the main things that needs to be done with the dude named Robert L. Johnson. But I'll get into that within the next couple notes I got. But still on the Big Ooh thing. So that's what I think he meant by it's not a black versus white thing. I don't think he was trying to excuse the white people for all the shit they've been doing for all these years. I don't think that was what he was saying at all. So I think that's where the disconnect was, because Ooh is a solid dude, do a lot for the town, um, do a lot for kids. Like, and he's not just a rapper. I believe he's coming like a Tupac in a sense, because Tupac wasn't just a rapper. Like, he had substance behind stuff he was saying, and like, you know, his ideas. Like, he was a real person at the end of the day. So that's the vibes I get from Big Ooh. So I know, well, my perspective, my opinion, I don't think he was excusing white people from being uh, from doing all the shit that they've been doing for all these years. I don't think that was his what he was trying to say. So, like I said, being that he has a large platform, you're gonna have some trolls in there that's gonna be ignorant and just only take what they want to hear out of what you say. And you know, so cooning, I don't know about that. That's a reach. I can't really agree with that part of it. But another part of another idea I was thinking also, topic number 2, was that, you know, as I'm looking through the news and whatnot, I'm seeing a lot of states and a lot of people rioting and protesting that I never thought even cared. Like I was seeing that they was rioting in Colorado, they rioting in Arizona. Like, it's interesting, because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know these people cared like about black people over there. Like, and you know, it's a weird situation what's going on right now, because there's a lot of narratives. It's like, all right, so is people using us black people and our anger as a guise or disguise to do some bullshit in their towns, and rioting and just joining in on the movement because black people mad? Oh, we mad too. This is our chance to steal some shit and do whatever. So you got a lot of opportunists running around too. So I don't know. It's kind of weird that, like, all of a sudden y'all care about black people. I don't know. That's an argument to be had. But I found that to be interesting, that there's a lot of people that's rioting and protesting in seemingly solidarity with black people. It's kind of funny. I don't know, but we'll see how it plays out. Topic number 3 I want to touch on is that our first black billionaire, Robert L. Johnson, who's basically the founder of BET, right? He was on CNBC, and I watch a lot of CNBC because they talk business and all that, because you know, this finance and business platform. But I'm not talking about no stocks and none of that today. But this guy was on CNBC, and I guess he's a good person to interview, the first black billionaire. So they was like, you know, what should be done? So his proposal was, he proposed that America pay descendants of slaves $14 trillion. This was his proposal, $14 trillion, that basically will aid in closing the wealth gap that's been widening since the Civil War. White people make 10 times more than the average black person. Like, their household income is 10 times that of a black person, and it's been like that since a long time, right? So he proposed that would be a start to something that can not only bridge the wealth gap, but kind of quell some of the frustrations and all the inadequacies that's in the black community, because that $14 trillion is in today's money, and that's based off of all the stuff that we built in this country, all the injustices, all the Jim Crowism, all the desegregation, everything that happened from desegregation, and basically the uneven playing field that's been established, basically piggybacking off of slavery. So I'm in agreement with that. Like, I'm in agreement with that. Like, because $14 trillion spread out amongst all us black people, I think we can do some solid things. And that's probably just the beginning, to be honest. 14 trillion. But yeah, that he proposed that as one of the things that could possibly, you know, bring some equality. You know what I'm saying? Because there's definitely a gap, and it's evident, and we frustrated. Black people are frustrated, and that basically goes along with some of the stuff I've been saying because, you know, I think a lot of our spending habits are based off this frustration, trying to have or look like we have, or to comfort ourselves with things because of all the inadequacies that we have in our communities because of the lack of, you know, because of the playing field being uneven. So we like to I guess make ourselves feel better with things. But if we was to, like this blackout day, we're not supposed to be spending no money with these businesses. We're not supposed to be participating in anything financial with them today. But our voices is supposed to be heard today. If anything, that's what we're supposed to be doing today, letting our voice be heard, and letting that pain be felt by not spending no money with them. Because if we was to stop spending, if we wasn't spending money on discretionary items, and for 1 year we would have $1.3 trillion. $1.3 trillion if we stopped spending money with these people on discretionary items, because that's our spending power. We spend $1.3 trillion every year. So we can begin that ourselves, and this is what we're doing today is an example of a percentage of what can happen, or the weight of us not participating in their markets on today. So if we was to do that for a year and like spend our money with ourselves, we'll be recycling $1.3 trillion within our own community, and that's just with stuff that we spend money on, right? It always seems like when I'm doing my podcast, my neighbors upstairs want to start walking around making all this noise. But it's crazy because it was silent. It was silent up until I start recording. And it seems like that always happens. But anyway, my last and final topic is what's next. What's next is a heavy question. I don't think the answer to that question could be answered with any short answers. I believe that needs to be some actionable items on the table, and they need to be executed on like right now. Like it need to be some things on the table to address, you know, the existence of us black folks in this country. Like we need to address. I'm glad though that now we're finally having this conversation and it's gaining traction, because it's kind of been whispers and it's kind of been like ain't nobody really want to touch on it. But something needs to be done like now, and I've been hearing thoughts on this across the media. Some people are saying that in order to fix this, it's going to take some years, and I'm like, it may take some years, right? But I don't think we got years. I don't think we got that type of time, because niggas is mad right now. You feel me? So I don't know. I don't think we had that much time. So with that being said, it's the Blackout Edition. Feel free to tap in, like and subscribe to this video, share it. You can also tap in with me on Rappin_Dough on IG, and we're also going to be available for your listening pleasure on all streaming platforms. Alright, so RIP George Floyd, and RIP all the other black soldiers that we lost with all this police brutality, man. But what's next? It's a good question. Feel free to leave your comments as far as what you think should be next. Alright, so with that being said, it's your boy Don Bucks. I'm out. Peace.
You are now tuned in to Rappin Dough. It's your boy Don Bucks.